Soon the thrill of victory blurred into one word: I beat you. That became the name of our first bona fide boat, the one we sailed together on the inland sea named Lake Ontario. No matter that other boat owners in Olcott, New York, dubbed our vessel the Anthill due to all the kids swarming on board, we were I beat you, filled with confidence and expectations as we learned to keep an eye on the far horizon. We had so many boats over the years: the Penguin dinghy that we tried to sail on the Erie Canal, the 24-foot Shark that first bore us across 40 miles of open water to Toronto, the Cal 27 with its pop-up cabin top, which excelled in light air and sailing downwind, making Dad competitive in the local and Lake Yacht Racing Association races. There were the Cal 330 that sported lots of space below deck, including an oven, and the CNC 29, which was better suited for racing than family cruising, much to my mother's regret. Every man has a sweet tooth, and a sailboat, specifically a gleaming fiberglass job, was my father's. Looking back on it all, my brother Eric shared this affinity for boats more than the rest of us. He and Dad loved to watch crafts of all sizes out on the water, under full sail, looking like so many giant birds in flight. In November 1962, only 3 days before Thanksgiving, my mother gave birth to another boy, Eric Gordon Wendel. Often parents name their children after family members or dear friends, but Eric was named in a fashion after Finnish-American architect Eero Saarinen. When Mom and I were young, we were fascinated with architecture and the architects of the time, Dad said. My favorite, and I think Mom's too, was Eero Saarinen. It all began when I learned that he and his dad, Eliel, had designed Kleinhans Music Hall in Buffalo. I liked the clean, simple lines of the building that gave it a stately look, and its wood paneling and brick gave it warmth at the same time. Saarinen also designed the St. Louis Arch, the TWA terminal at JFK Airport, and the Dulles Airport terminal during his short career. With its glass walls and grand open floor and sweeping wing-like roof, the Dulles terminal stands only 10 miles from my home in Northern Virginia, and Saarinen called it the best thing I've ever done. Dad said that Saarinen's approach was to let each building tell him what it should be. He was beyond imposing his ego, his brand on the building. In 1961, Saarinen died at the age of 51 in Ann Arbor, where he was overseeing a new music building for the University of Michigan. Saarinen died while undergoing an operation for a brain tumor. 11 years later, his wife, Helene, who was an art critic and television journalist, died of the same condition. Eero Saarinen's death hit me pretty hard, Dad said, and he wanted to remember his architectural hero in some way. So when Eric was born, he and Mom briefly considered Eero and Eliel, but soon decided that those would be difficult names for any kid to deal with. Then they discovered that Eero had a son named Eric. That's what they decided to name my brother. At first, Eric Gordon Wendel appeared to be like the rest of us. He enjoyed being outside in motion, always up to something. He laughed as hard as the rest of us at Quick Draw McGraw and the Huckleberry Hound cartoons. Yet his hair was lighter, more reddish in color, a stark contrast to the raven black mops that my brother Chris and I sported. His features were more delicate, too. His hazel eyes took in everything, and his lips would draw into a thin smile when something amused him. In short order, another boy, Brian, was born, and about 5 years later, a girl, Amy, completed our family of 6 kids, 4 boys and 2 girls. 6 kids, if taught the correct procedures, were more than enough to operate a fair-sized sailboat. On the medical side, our family history couldn't have been better. Both parents were alive and healthy, the grandparents too, and there was no history of allergic tendencies, diabetes, or certainly cancer in our family. So my parents were baffled when Eric could barely get out of bed late in the winter of 1966. He was 3 years old. Eric had bruised his right shin during a play date in the Buffalo suburbs. The blow had deepened and yellowed, lingering on for weeks. Mom took Eric to our family pediatrician, George Moscato, on East